Hey everyone, Scott Todnam here with the Classroom Connection video of the week. Episode 3, Coping Strategies. Besides some brain boosts, one of the major activities this week in 7th grade was a take on an old team building activity called stepping stones. The idea is for the group to get across a make-believe river from one side to the next using only 5 of these woodblock stepping stones. The concept was to deal with some of that frustration, some of the stress that was on purpose put into that activity. How do we cope with that? Plus looking at some of the personality differences that showed up within a group dynamic. I'm going to bring in 2 students from 7th grade and they'll talk us through a little bit of their experience with the week, with mental health, with stress, with coping strategies, and of course then the activity of stepping stones. Okay, here we are. I'm with 2 7th graders, and again this week we've been focusing on mental health and stress, and specifically looking at how stress can be both good and bad, distress and eustress. And also we're looking at some coping strategies. So I want to ask the question, which coping strategy for stress do you tend to like, to enjoy? What are you good at?
I'm good at downtime because it's my time to relax. I could just watch TV and
And so your downtime involves, does it involve video, music, both?
I usually just watch shows. I'm not really a big music fan, and movies, I mean, I could watch, but I like watching like shows and stuff.
What I'm best at doing is social time, because if I have stress going on with myself that I can't like necessarily share with like parents, if I feel like too, like timid to share with my parents, maybe I could share with some friends and see their opinion on the problem, which will make me feel better eventually.
Second part to this, which coping strategy do you know that you could improve and do a little bit better job?
I need improvement in active time because I'm always in downtime and I'm always like online and on the internet, so I'm not really outgoing and like out there doing sports and stuff.
So just trying to get more active each week?
Sleep time, because from my perspective, I have like really bad time management. I don't get things done on time. So what I need to improve on is sleep time, so I can actually have good energy for the next day of school and not get tired during school.
Okay, next question. We went through a stepping stones team building activity, right? And we took your group from one pretend area, crossing the ocean or crossing the river and trying to get to the other side, but only using the stones to get there. And there had to be a human contact point with that stone, these actual wood blocks, in order for it not to sink, right? To be used. So you remember that activity, right?
Yeah.
How did your group do?
We didn't do too well just because it was kind of hard with the human touch because you have to keep your foot on it at the same time. So it was pretty difficult. We kept having to like retrying, and it took a lot of tries.
So you failed a couple of times. And did you eventually make it across?
Yeah, we did after a couple of times.
Okay, so how do we connect that to mental health focus points of stress or personality or even some social health pieces?
So we were all kind of like yelling at each other and we were really annoyed that we couldn't get over. So like we didn't really do any planning. So we all had like sit down and calm down, and we all had like plan it through. And then that's how we kind of figured out how to get across.
So you did a little bit more planning. In the decision-making process, you decided step back, look at it again, plan a little bit more.
Yeah.
Same question, looking at your group, how did your group do on the stepping stones activity?
We struggled a lot during the beginning. We didn't take it seriously, to be honest, but we still tried, and then eventually figured out that we had to do it or we can't like really move on. So we tried doing it, and then we looked back, we used our eustress, and then we figured out what we did, what went wrong, and then we tried to fix that, and then eventually fixing all the mistakes we had made, we got it across.
So at first you thought it was going to be just kind of a silly activity, and then you started to get into it as a group?
Yeah.
So you mentioned eustress, the good stuff?
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like a frustrating event, then some good came
Towards
from
the
it.
beginning, everyone was messing around, and then everyone figured out that it was a hard task, so we ended up getting distressed, and then eventually we figured out, we looked back, we used our eustress, and then we, as I said, looked back on our mistakes and got through the task.
Right. So you learn from it and then
Yeah.
put it back into action.
I was supposed to be one of the leaders, but I wasn't really good at it because I wasn't really telling everyone like what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I had someone else kind of like help me and like coach everyone, and yeah, that helped me.
The activity before, I was a leader for that particular task,
Mm-hmm.
so I know how leadership works. And the other, my other two group mates, like didn't know how to like lead, so I technically leaded the entire thing. And then, but it wasn't like I was bossy. We all respected each other's perspectives, and we all tried it because we knew that we had plenty of time, so we could try everything until something works out.
Great. Thank you two so much.